Hey, what's up guys? Brad with Squared Away every day, and today we are going to be talking about, are the Tesla Model S Plaid and the Tesla Model X Plaid, or even just the basic versions of those vehicles, actually worth the money? Now, I'm somebody who's already owned a Model 3 Performance, I've got a Model Y Performance, I've got this Model S Plaid here, and within a week, I'm going to be picking up the Tesla Model X Plaid, and I've got some opinions on it. So in this video today, we're going to be talking about, is it actually worth the money from somebody who has owned all four? Well, almost anyway. If you like this kind of content, please go ahead and give me a like, give me a sub, and let's hop into the video. As I near my delivery date of the Model X Plaid, I'm really trying to decide if that's something I want to do. If you've seen my other video, why I'm getting rid of my Tesla Model S Plaid, you'll know I have a little bit of conflicting, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's not ethics or morals. I don't even know what you'd call it. I have some conflicting values with owning a daily driver that is a $150,000 car. I don't know. It doesn't really sit with me that well these days, and I'll kind of expand on that in a little bit here. And you're probably thinking, well, why are you buying the Model X Plaid? Well, I was buying the Model X Plaid because simply there's a tax code that you can take advantage of that's going to allow you to write that vehicle off and do something called accelerated depreciation on it, so that your tax liability at the end of the year is lessened or non-existent. And so that's why I was doing that with the X Plaid, is because it was the same vehicle pretty much, except it was more practical for Colorado. I could actually put inventory and gear and stuff like that for my business in the vehicle, and I could write it off and lessen my tax liability, which is a big thing to me. So anyway, and that's all legal, by the way. So anyway, as I approach my delivery date of the Model X Plaid, I just keep asking myself, is it really worth it to even keep the Model X? Now, I'm going to buy it, we'll shoot a bunch of videos on it, and we'll see if I end up keeping it. Most likely, probably not. I don't think it's going to be able to win me over, and that's just simply because I don't really believe the Model X in any version, whether it's the Plaid or the long range, or the Model S in any version, whether it's the Plaid or the long range, are actually worth the money that you need to pay for those things. And I'll tell you why. It's because I've had just as much fun in my Model 3 Performance and my Model Y Performance as I have in the Plaid. In the Plaid, yeah, it's super fun, and like you take it to Bandimere, or your drag strip or your racetrack, and you have a great time in it. But there's some limitations to it. And when you're talking about a performance car, I know everybody likes to beat me up when I call it a sports car. It's not a sports car. It doesn't handle like a sports car. It is a performance vehicle. Let me let this car pass. When you're talking a performance vehicle, especially living in a state like Colorado, you want to be able to look at that thing in the garage when you can't drive it 6 months out of the year and just be like, oh baby, I can't wait to get you out on the road. And I can drive this car in the winter. Don't get me wrong, it's all-wheel drive. It's actually a very good car in the snow, the Model S Plaid, that is. It's just not as good as some of the other stuff I've got. It's just not. It's not as good as the Model Y Performance because of the clearance. Now, the X is a different story. That's a boss car in the snow. I mean, that thing, you can raise it up super high, and I mean, that's an awesome snow car, don't get me wrong. But when we're talking about just pure practicality of a performance car, this is not a garage queen. It's not an exciting car to me to keep in the garage and like wait all winter to drive it. It's just not. It's not that kind of car. It's not the kind of car where you can take it to the racetrack. And like, I'm somebody who really likes to take classes, and I'm always trying to like better myself with whatever I'm into, whether it's like driving or whatever. I've got a lot of different hobbies. But this isn't even a car I can take to the racetrack. I don't even have the range to be able to get out to the racetrack and back. And like, if I go to the track, I want to drive at least an hour or two. I don't even have the range to do that. There's no supercharger at the track. The track that's closest to me is 80 miles away, other than a sheriff's track just like up at the top of Tabletop, which is very limited. You can't really get in there often. But anyway, so what's the point? I can't take the car to the track. I could take it to Bandimere, and it's fun. But even the second time I went to Bandimere, it was still as fun Now, I take that back. It wasn't as fun. I mean, you do it a couple times and you kind of get used to the speed and the pull of it. And don't get me wrong, it's a great car, super fun car. Even on the way over here, and I'm talking my Model S Plaid still, even on the way over here, you know, I like to punch it out of red lights and stuff as long as, you know, I'm safe. I check everything. And a guy pulled up to me in a P100D Model X at the next light, and he was like, bro, that's got to be a Plaid. Is that a Plaid? And I was like, yeah, it's a Plaid. What are you driving? And he told me, and whatever. We just parted ways. And so it's cool. It's a cool car. People that know what it is think it's a cool car. I guess for me, it's just not something to where it's like, I need the status of it. I just don't. I grew up poor, you know, like almost everybody. And let me let this car pass. Anyway, I grew up poor, just like anybody. And so sometimes I think people that don't really come from money can have a little bit of a complex when it comes to being around people that have money, especially people like me. I just kind of do my own thing. And one of the things that I do, I am involved with people who have a lot of money. And so the only reason I own stuff like this or this watch or anything like that is because if people want to question me, like, oh, are you even legit, bro? And it's like, boom, suck on that. I'm that legit. That's what it is. But it's not something for me to where it's like the average person. It's like, I don't care. I don't want to rub it in your face. Bro, I hope you like take off and just exceed and excel in whatever you're doing. I'm not competitive with people. I'm just not. My competitors are the clock and the calendar. That's what it is. And so I do like to just like, boom, throw it in people's face sometimes that are snooty and that are snobby and think that you're lesser because you don't have money or whatever. And so that's why I have things like this, is because sometimes it is necessary for you to show people like, yo, I'm legit. But I don't know, that's not a primary reason for me owning it. I got this car because it's the fastest production car on earth, and I wanted to experience that. And so I guess kind of circling around, I'm gonna wrap up the video here. I'm just rambling, but circling around, is the Model X Plaid or just the basic X or the S long range or the Plaid, are they actually worth the money? To me, they're not. They're just not worth the money, really. And it's because a Tesla's a Tesla. I don't care if you've got a Model 3 or a Y or an S or an X. At the core of it, when you're talking the autopilot and you're talking how smooth they are, and even the peppiness of the vehicles, whether they go 0 to 60 in 2 seconds or 0 to 60 in 5 seconds, they're peppy. They have, 0 to 60 in 5 seconds is very respectable, even for the long range stuff that's out there. And so to me, personally speaking, I know a lot of people are going to be mad at me about this. I don't think it's worth it, because I think at the core of it, a Tesla's a Tesla. There's not really much other than the speed, obviously, and you've got suspension that's a little bit more comfortable and just stuff like that. But really, is it really worth the money to me to be able to go a little faster? Not really. My wife and my kiddo hate it when I drive fast in this thing and they're in the car. I don't have the room in this thing to be able to actually do what I need to do. I'm always trying to borrow the Model Y performance. And a Plaid, an X Plaid would solve that for me. Sure, that would solve that for me. But I'm already at the point where it's just like, at what point is it gluttonous? I've got the Model Y performance. I've got a really, you guys don't see it often, but I've got a really tricked out Tacoma. Like probably one of the most expensive Tacomas you've ever seen, with just all the I'll probably cut that out, with all the stuff that I put on that vehicle. And so that's cool. I've got a AEV Prospector, which is going to be coming, which is going to actually take the role of the Model X Plaid. Unless I love the Plaid, I don't think that's going to happen. I'll love it, but it's just not going to be something I think that is worth the money. But I've got a Prospector, which will be a company vehicle. I'll accelerate and depreciate that thing. It's over 6,000 pounds and it'll fit the bill for that, and it's an expensive vehicle. So hopefully I lower my tax liability at the end of the year significantly. So anyway, is it worth it? No, it's not worth it to me. And at the end of the day, guys, don't you want to just be happy and free? Isn't that the goal? People get the stigma to where, like, if you own a business, you don't have a boss, and that is not true. It's almost like you have more bosses, because me personally, I'm a small business owner. And it's just something I like to do, but you always have a boss, whether it's your employees that you need to respect and value and listen to when they come to you with stuff, or it's your clients. You've always got a boss, somebody that you need to answer to. And just unless you're somebody who's just retired, you've got no liabilities in terms of just like your responsibilities of a responsibility to make an income anymore. Great, good for you. Go ahead and buy one of these. I think that's totally worth it. But other than that, I'll take the additional money, and because I'm going to buy another Model Y Performance, and that is an expensive car, but it's something I justify because of the safety, big time, because of the safety and the ability for me not to breathe in exhaust all the time when I'm starting it in the car. That is huge. I hate that. And you got to think to yourself, if you just locked yourself in the garage with a running internal combustion engine vehicle, and you would die, that cannot be good for you over a extrapolated period of time throughout your lifetime, smelling exhaust, getting in the vehicle, getting out of the vehicle. It's gotta have a toll, right? And so for me, the electric thing is important. There's no safer vehicle than the Teslas. That's super important. And the lack of maintenance. I value my time, big time. So the lack of maintenance is huge for me. And then just the peppiness of them. They're just easy to drive. They're safe cars. And so I think they're great cars. So I can justify having even a Model Y Performance or a Model 3 Performance. That's great, but I can't do it on the X and the S. I just can't. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap the video up. That's it. If you guys like this kind of content, please go ahead and give me a like, give me a sub, and we'll see you in the next one.